In hindsight, would you agree that a natural consequence of your memo could be chilling free speech, protected speech by parents protesting local school board policies?
Senator, the memo is aimed only at violence and threats of violence. It states on its face that vigorous debate is protected. That is what this is about, and that is all this is about.
What about harassment and intimidation? Are those federal crimes?
They are federal crimes.
Are you referring to like witness tampering intimidation under 18 U.S.C. 1512? Or what?
To 18 U.S.C. 2261A, which makes it over the Internet. Likewise, 47 U.S.C. 223A, making telephones calls with intention to harass. Now, I want to be clear, though, that those only are within, I take your point, those are only within what is permitted by the First Amendment. And the Supreme Court has been clear about that, too. In the Virginia versus Black case, the court explained when intimidation is not protected by the Constitution, and that is when it is made with the intent of placing the victim in fear of bodily harm or death. So that's what we're concerned about here.
Well, and one of the things that concerns me is, we've got 17 attorneys general, led by Attorney General Todd Rokita in Nevada, and joined by a total of 17 attorneys general, including Sean Reyes, the fantastic attorney general of the state of Utah. And they've weighed in and they've said that there is not a barrage of accusations. There's no unusual flood of accusations of threats of violence against school board members. Nothing unusual, nothing that they can't handle at the state and local level. Normally, things like this against state and local officials involving state and local government entities like school boards are not federal. Congressman Chip Roy of Texas raised in that same hearing the issue of a 14-year-old girl in a school bathroom being sexually assaulted in Loudoun County. And you indicated in response to that you weren't aware of that. And in the 6 days before you testified before the House Judiciary Committee, have you become familiar with the publicly reported details of that case?
Yes, I have read about the case, yes.
If you were unfamiliar with the supposed instances of threats of violence and intimidation that the National School Board Association cited in the letter, then how did you determine that intervention by the FBI and the DOJ was necessary, that was the right approach?
So the right approach in the letter is to meet with local law enforcement. That's what we've asked for, is to meet, to assess the situation, to see what their needs are, to strategize, and to open lines of communication. Now, I'm hopeful that many areas of local law enforcement will be well able to handle this on their own. But this is what the Justice Department does every day. We consult with our local and state partners and see whether assistance is necessary. And of course, we continue to have our own federal responsibilities with respect to communications by the Internet, on social media, on telephone, through the mail. But I'm hopeful that we will not be needed in this area, that our state and local partners will be able to handle these threats.
My time's expired. I just want to state for the record as I close that my staff and I went through every news source raised by the National School Board Association. There was no explicit death threat. And I choose here to reiterate my concern that not every outburst or expression of concern by neighbors, among neighbors at a local school board meeting warrants a federal investigation. Certainly doesn't warrant the involvement of 94 U.S. attorneys in a way that threatens, intimidates, and tends inevitably to chill First Amendment activity. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Lee.